Hi there, I'm Coach Kenneth, and in today's video I'm going to be talking to you about coming on too strong can indicate attachment injuries. So, in this video I'm going to teach you how when someone is coming on too strong, it could indicate that they have an attachment injury. And one of the main things that guys do wrong in the initial stages of the dating process is coming on so strong in the beginning. They do this by bragging about themselves or trying to talk to the woman about getting in a relationship and talking about commitment right off the bat before you even know this person. I actually have several female friends that tell me guys will literally tell them they want to marry her before they've even met. I mean, that is just crazy. I mean, they're talking about marriage and kids before they even meet in person. This shows tremendous amount of desperation and very low value. Remember, we create our own value. I have a video on that, excellent video. So, not only that, but you make women feel trapped when you come on too strong. Think about it. They feel like they're engulfed, they're feeling like they're going to lose their freedom, and nobody wants to have their freedom taken away. Even if you've been married for 20 years, people still want to feel free. They don't want to feel smothered. And when you guys are coming on so strong, it's indicating how needy you really are and how you have all these unmet needs. And so you're trying to control this person, and essentially you're using them as an object to meet your needs. You're not treating them like a real person. You're just using them for your own benefit, to soothe your own anxiety. So this video is going to really help you guys, because you may start to see in yourself a real attachment injury. Maybe you've never even thought of it before. And you might say, whoa, wow, I do that, I say that, and I never really thought about that before. You have to think about how your behavior is affecting the other person. Okay? You guys are so consumed with how you're feeling, you're not realizing the effect that you're having on the other person. Okay? And the other thing is that by watching this video, you're going to be able to recognize if someone else has an attachment injury. And if you're able to do that, it's going to help you decide whether or not you want to date somebody that is going to have those issues that come with it. Because it's not easy to date somebody that has an anxious or an avoidant attachment style. Especially the extremes. I mean, we're all going to be a little bit insecure or avoidant at times. You know, there's levels, like anything else. And you want to be aware of potential behavior that you can expect from somebody. And that way you can go into that relationship knowing what you might find or how you want to deal with it, right? Because it's very helpful to know somebody's attachment style and your own attachment style, because you can manage your own behavior better. You can help give your partner what they need better, and you can also explain to your partner what you need from them. So, let me talk a little bit about how anxiety causes people to lose emotional self-control, right? We tend to become jealous, controlling, clingy, irritable, and they're more likely and more prone to have issues with anxiety and depression. And they're going to be more likely to have difficulty communicating their needs, and they're going to be less resilient to stress. So, if you date somebody that has an anxious or avoidant attachment style, those are the behaviors that they are likely to have. I'm not going to say everybody does, but it's going to be a real good indicator that you can expect those behaviors. And the more that they had their needs neglected, that they were not seen, heard, taken care of, felt, understood, the more that they were neglected in those areas, the more likely they're going to be to have a higher level of anxiety or be more likely to be more avoidant in the situation. So, if you think about it, guys are constantly wondering, why do women test? Okay, so let's think about this for a minute. Why would a woman test a man that she doesn't know? Well, biologically, if you think about it, when we're talking about mating and reproducing, I'm going to put it in those terms. We're not going to be talking about love for a second here. But if you think about it biologically, you want to test your partner, and a woman is going to want to test a man's strength. And that isn't so much about physical strength, especially, with the modern life. But, we can just go to Publix and get a steak. We don't have to hunt it in the woods anymore, right? So, Publix is a grocery store in Florida, by the way, for those of you guys wondering. Because it's amazing where I see these videos being watched around the world. I've been getting a lot of viewers from the UK and Canada, and it's just amazing to see it take off in Egypt. I was getting viewers in Egypt the other day. I was like, wow, this is great. I'm glad it's helping you guys. So, back, got a little off on a tangent there, but I was excited to share that. Alright, so a woman is testing a man. Biologically, it makes sense that she finds the strongest mate for her. So, she's more likely to have offspring that survive. Right? If you break it down biologically and you look at it that way. So, if she tests the man's behavior by doing things like, think about how simple this test is. Think about how simple and how easy it is for a woman to weed out the weaker man. Watch. Not texting you back right away. And let's say a woman doesn't text you back for 2 days. Let's just say. And you blow up her phone, you start getting nasty, mean, manipulative, controlling. Next, think about it. Think about another thing. A lot of times guys complain about women's flaky behavior, right? Maybe she cancels on the date last minute. Okay, well let's look at that. Maybe her interest level was decent, but she had her doubts about you, so she unconsciously doesn't know why, but she's not feeling it and she cancels. Well, how do you handle that? Do you say, okay, cool, well, let me know when you want to get together and, stay calm about it? Or do you get nasty, mean, how dare you do this to me, blah, blah, blah. Think about that. Bam, out the door, gone, next. See how easy it is for them to weed out the weaker man in these situations? And think about it, guys. If you can't have any self-control or emotional self-control, wouldn't you say that's a sign of weakness? I would. I mean, I don't like to be too harsh with you guys, but come on. You have to have emotional self-control. So here's some examples. Alright? Here are some examples to look for with people that might have an attachment injury. They tend to jump into relationships, especially after just a couple of weeks. Sometimes people will move into somebody else's house within like 2 months or a month. It's too soon. Way too soon. That is going to be a big indicator that you have an attachment injury. So if you've done that and you have a history of jumping into relationships, you might want to take a real look at that. What else? You have to understand that the people that have attachment injuries tend to really struggle with boundaries because they're so afraid they're going to be abandoned. And let me jump into an email here that I thought was a good email. She was hoping for some information, so let me get this out. This is from a girl who says, "Hi Craig, you are a real lifesaver. Your channel has completely changed my life." Well, that is just, I love hearing that from you guys. I love hearing your success stories. It was really the Skype coaching that we did that opened up my eyes, and I feel like a new woman. That's awesome. I'm glad it helped. I'm starting to see patterns in myself and my relationships that I had never been aware of. I have realized that I have a very anxious attachment style. I always jump right into relationships, and the guy is never good for me. I tend to be attracted to very controlling guys. In our Skype coaching, you mentioned how when people come on too strong, they might have an attachment injury. You also mentioned that my ex appears to have an extreme avoidant attachment style and how he might be hostile dependent. I was hoping you could explain that a little bit more in a video, as I think it could be very helpful. Okay. So, the thing that you have to understand is that people with attachment injuries were essentially traumatized by the bond with their caregivers. Now, that's not true in every situation, of course. I'm speaking generally and what you're going to see a lot of the time. Think about this. They had a trauma with the bond to their caregivers. So, love comes at a cost, right? It hurts and it's scary. Got to try and put yourself in their position. Have some empathy. Put yourself in their shoes. So, they don't want to get close. And a lot of times when they do feel too close, they start to act out, right? Now, I had an ex that would do this with me all the time. She would be great for about 3 weeks, and then we would get too close, and then she would emotionally beat me up. And she would say horrible, mean things, manipulate, twist things around, completely irritable, angry attitude, just impossible to get along with. And it was all a self-sabotage because she can't handle too much closeness, because closeness comes at a cost to her, and it hurts. And you can never get too close or feel very comfortable with somebody, especially when they've had, a lot of, that early pain, neglect, abandonment, all kinds of stuff can go on there. And you have to understand that it's a range, that, the more hurt we were, the more likely we're going to have those symptoms and, those wounds. And so the more they were hurt, the scarier it is for them to trust you and get close to you. And it might not even be anything that you say or have done. And that's what can be really confusing. I know for me, I always try and treat my partner great. You know what I mean? I always try and be a great partner. I'm very self-aware of how I behave in a relationship, and I'm attentive to what my partner needs. And despite how much effort I make, sometimes you're going to be with somebody that can't handle that. They just can't handle that level of intimacy, commitment, feeling close. They're scared as hell. And they don't even know how to say it. They can't even say, I feel so close to you and it scares me. They're not even really aware of their internal world. And one of the reasons why that might be is because when they were growing up, their caregivers didn't show any interest in their internal world, and they didn't show any curiosity into their child's internal world, so the child didn't even internalize that they have an internal world. They've been neglected, and so a lot of times they will push down their own feelings, and they will ignore things and dismiss things. They will dismiss what's going on internally. And a lot of people may see this as something that is a strength. Like if they're, somebody with an avoidant attachment style might be like, oh, well, it wasn't meant to be. It'll get better. Things will move on. But they never really process it. They never really deal with it and heal with it. It just gets swept under the rug, and the rug just keeps getting higher and higher and higher. And they somehow deny reality. They're in denial that all of those things are there. I don't know how they're able to do it, but they've been doing it for so long. They are able to keep it into the unconscious, sometimes for years and years and years. So, here's the rub, right? Human beings are wired for closeness. It's our main source of safety, is our relationships and our connections to other. It's how we feel safe, and we can't turn that off. So, even the people who have been tremendously hurt, neglected, abused, they still crave and they're desperate to feel close to other people. Now, what you have to understand is that they're desperate to cling to that person, but they're also terrified that they're going to be smothered. So, this is an extreme case. This isn't the typical case, but there's all, like I said, levels to this. This is an extreme case in what is called hostile dependent. They beat you up while they're clinging to you. I hate you, don't leave me. It's the best way I can describe it. I hate you, don't leave me. Here's another good way. Do you want me to come or not? Yes. Which is it? Yes. Now, the most extreme, the extreme of the extreme, is borderline personality disorder. And I'm not going to get too much into this. I just want you to be aware of it. Borderline personality disorders, they push with one arm, but they pull with the other. And it's, I love you, get out of my life. If you date someone who has borderline personality disorder, you have to understand they cannot soothe themselves, okay? What you guys don't know, because you probably didn't go to school for many years for this, but this is really fascinating. In our early childhood, the way that we are able to soothe ourselves and calm ourselves is by internalizing our caregivers and hearing their thoughts, maybe not their thoughts, it's like we're hearing them soothe us. We can call them into our mind to soothe us. It's an object relations term, just to give you an idea what I'm talking about. But you calling up the object, in this case it's your caregivers, and you hear them soothing you, calming you, making you feel better, right? So, people that have a borderline personality disorder, they cannot do this. They cannot call up their caregivers, and they can't calm themselves or soothe themselves. And this is a lot of the reasons why they have act-out behavior, like punching people in the face, right? Because they can't soothe themselves, so they're kind of going all over the place. And well, I don't want to get into this too much, but they tend to see people very black and white. There's no in between. They're amazing or they're terrible. Now, these are the extreme cases, but I do want you to be aware of them because, you know, I like to educate you guys and share things with you so you can kind of take that with you and understand that there's a lot more going on in relationships than most people understand. Now, if you like this video and you'd like to see me do more videos about it, make sure you put a like on there and be sure to subscribe to my channel because I post videos Monday through Friday. And when you want to get my help personally, go to my website, askcraig.net. If you have an idea for a video topic or that you'd like me to talk about, in the front page of my home page, in the About section, my email is on there. Now, if you want to get my help personally, go to the top right-hand corner of my main page where it says Schedule a Session, and I will get with you right away. We'll schedule an email session or a Skype session with me, and you guys can have that one-on-one that you're needing and the extra support that you need. So, that's it for this video. I'm Coach Craig Kenneth, and I will talk with you soon.